subscribe. Darling Radio, like and subscribe.
All right, we in here. What's going on, man? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Respect to everybody. Round of applause to you. Welcome to the Late Night Tap In with me, Tariq. Glad to have everybody in here. And we're going to chop it up like we always do. Let me quickly do a quick roll call. Y'all know how I got to get it in to shout out all the regulars. We got who we got? Whitney, we got Charles, Ivy World, we got C Killer, we got JT, we got HM, Obsidian, we got Yoshi G in the building, High C, Fuwa Fuwa, we got FBA Town Business, we got the Black Vanguard in the building. We got Sweets in the building, Brother Ania Saru, little old me, Ryan, Aztec Trinity in the building, Miss Skyline in the building, Hip Hop in the building, Trelly in the building, Brother Macau, the Great Black Shark, Brother Brad, and the legendary The Tethanator in the building. Much respect to you guys. And we're gonna get some calls pretty early, so y'all get in the queue. So when I start letting the calls in, you can hop on and we chop it up and do our thing. Well, the main thing I want to talk about Shannon Sharpe. That is a big topic right now. Shannon Sharpe was officially let go from ESPN because of the sexual, quote, misconduct, unquote, civil case that was going on with him that he ended up settling. The case was for like I want to say 50 million, and some people are saying he settled for 23 million, something like that. Whatever he settled for, that white woman who was doing OnlyFans, she retired. She said, "Hey, I'm out the game, y'all. I'm up out of here." So a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people are shocked. They kind of knew. And I think Shannon, he was aware. I think he said he knew that they were going to let him go. He wanted them to let him go after his brother got some kind of award or something, because he didn't want this news to overshadow his brother, something like that. But they dropped the hammer on Shannon anyway. And listen, I can understand. I understand ESPN's position. I understand their position. Um, there's a legal liability there. There's corporate risk mitigation. If you got a high profile employee who's settling a case that's involving sexual misconduct, even if there's no guilt admitted, that creates legal exposure for the employer. So if ESPN, if they kept him on and a future incident happened involving an employee up there, even if it's just a claim, the company could be held liable. You understand? Because now a new accuser could say, well, the company knew about his past behavior and they failed to act on it. You see? So that would be grounds for a massive lawsuit. So they had to shield themselves from basically a multi-million dollar liability. So I understand where ESPN is coming from. Um, yeah, ESPN's the legal team, they, even though they probably like him and all that, they, this is chess, not checkers. You gotta, knock a couple of folks off the board to keep the game going. And, Disney owns ESPN. That's a Disney company. So, they do have somewhat of a reputation. So any scandal involving sexual impropriety, um, especially with a well-known face on the network, that conflicts with the wholesome corporate friendly image that Disney wants to project to a certain degree. So, even though he had a strong fan base, high ratings, just the optics of quote sexual misconduct and a settlement involving a white woman, and I get on that later, that sends shockwaves to the PR departments. So, and then there's probably some pressure from the advertisers and the sponsors. Yeah, they didn't had some meeting with the sponsors. These advertisers, they spend billions of dollars on ESPN, so they don't want their products running alongside a host who's facing a public scandal, especially on a Disney-owned network. So and also, eh, they're targeting family-friendly audiences. So, some of these people were probably threatening to withdraw some of the ad placements. So, they're gonna charge you to the game. And there's probably some morality conduct clauses in his contract. A lot of on their personalities, they got some kind of morality clause, and it gives the employers a broad discretion to terminate an employee if their behavior on or off the clock could um, put a stain on the company to a certain degree. So a sexual misconduct settlement, no matter what the outcome, that can be seen as a violation of the public decency standards. Yeah. So, they had to cover their backs. They had to cover, and plus we can't ignore the racial optics of it and the cultural blowback, the racial dynamics. It can't be ignored. A black male public figure accused of sexual misconduct involving a young white woman. So, that's a whole different can of worms there, you see. And what does this mean now? What does this mean for a lot of black entertainers, black athletes? Um, a lot of black male figures will definitely be held to a different, stricter standard. Um, they're going to be held to an unforgiving standard from their white counterparts. See, white male celebrities, they a lot of times they'll survive multiple allegations and they're quietly reinstated after rehab or after the media cycle goes down. No, the black dudes, they get sacrificed immediately, you see. So, that reinforces the whole historical pattern of weaponizing sexual allegations against black men. We can't ignore that. And, black men in the spotlight, if you settle the case, trying to avoid prolonged litigation to protect your image, that'll be treated like an act of wrongdoing now. Just like with Diddy. Diddy settled and still he's up in damn jail. They're still trying to get Diddy out now. They're arguing, and they got a very good argument about what's happening with Diddy. He's like the only person in jail for hiring male escorts. Why the hell is he still in jail? That's what he's in jail for. Everything else was dropped. He was found guilty of all the other hard, heavy stuff. So he's basically just in jail for hiring some damn male bussy poppers. So why is he in jail? That's the argument, which is the valid argument. And I think they just put in a new bid. I think the lawyers, they're trying to give 50 million. They're offering 50 million for bail or something like that. So they're trying to get him out, which they should get him out. Diddy shouldn't be in jail now. The serious charges were dropped. Basically, he just paid a trick tab. So now, he shouldn't still be locked down for that. But again, we're judged by a different standard. This is a form of this is societal buck breaking to a certain degree. They got to make examples of the black males. They got to make examples out of them. You see, because you try to act and get down like your white counterparts. You try to be freaky like them. Not even freaky. Like with Shannon Sharpe. Look. Let's be real. A lot of people are pointing the finger at Shannon, like, "Oh, Shannon should have known better. Oh, he should." I don't. That's not my narrative. To me, I think that's a cop out. I think that's a cop out. Shannon didn't do anything wrong. He had consensual sex with just a skanky white woman. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. On the surface, he just had regular sex. She was the one. Remember, we saw the text messages of this white woman. She's talking about put some big black babies in me and all this. So, yeah, it got into some race play. Now, you got to be careful with that. Yeah, now brothers need to understand just because somebody's up here doing the race play thing with you, that's a fetish. And by definition, people fetishizing you, they're objectifying you to a certain degree. So you got to watch out for that. Brothers get with these freaky white women and white adjacent women, and you think all that freaky shit means she thinks you're special. No, you're a fetish, and you're going to be her get out of hoeing free card. She can say, hell, I was hoeing it up, stanking it up, and I was slutting it up. But hell, it was the Negro who made me do it. But I've changed. I've got rid of the Negro, and I'm turning another leaf. So come get me, white men. Now, when that desirability goes down, he's going for the white men. And then you tell the white man, you got to explain to them why you were getting all that soul pole up in your ass. Oh, I was drugged. Oh, they tricked me. I was sexually coerced. Oh, I was trafficked. That's what you got to tell them. Yeah. So it's a very interesting dynamic out here, but I don't like the whole, well, you should have known better. Look, we got to deal with white supremacy. We have systematic white supremacy out here. When you say he should have known better, that's like saying, well, we know the system is unjust and unfair, so just avoid it. No, no, we got to, just say we have an unjust system. Just say that punishes black men and black women too disproportionately. So this whole thing, we have to self-police to survive, and instead of confronting the system head on, we redirect blame towards the individual. His error was basically trusting that he had the same rights as white dudes. You want to go have consensual sex with somebody? Just having consensual sex. But we do have to understand, as black people, we have to understand that the people in the dominant society, they will have race loyalty first. And they are in a power position over you. You understand? No matter how submissive they act, they understand that they are in a position societally more powerful than you, and they can flip on your ass. So you just have to be aware of that. You see, because the whole should have known better thing. We have to call the system of white supremacy out. We have to call that system out and call out the insecurities of the white supremacist. We have to call that out. And we don't want to have a defeatist mindset where we protect the illusion of order. See, at the core of all of this stuff, um, there's an illusion that the system is fair. If we say, well, if you just play by the rules, everything would have been all right. That's not what it is. We got to be very honest. A lot of times when black people get to a certain level of success, you become a target, and they look for certain things, and they will flip narratives in order to target you. We have to understand that we are in vulnerable positions where these people can flip on us at any time. Even when we really didn't do anything wrong, they can flip that. We can do something as innocent as consensual sex. And again, the white woman was begging for some soul pole. But then when she feels like she's tired of doing OnlyFans and the money's getting funny and her looks are kind of fading, she's getting older. And when I say older in white women years, that's 24. When they get around 24, they start looking for an exit plan, because when 30 hits, it's a wrap. So we got to understand that they look for exit plans early on. See, they ain't trying to be all out there in the streets and in the club at 40. And no, no. See, sisters can do that. Sisters still look good. You go to the club, you see a bunch of 49 and 52-year-old sisters out there still. They done went and you done got your damn body done. So now you out there pulling young niggas. All you got to do is put on a wig and get that ass done. And you out there pulling the youngins. So you can kind of get away with it. Yeah, that's why you go down to Atlanta, you meet women in the club. They got kids who just graduated from Spelman and shit. They got graduates living in their house. The women be old as hell. Atlanta's the capital of old hotties. Aren't you, Atlanta? Shout out to Atlanta. It's old hotties all up in the Lenox Mall, ass sitting on swole. You got gray coochie hair out here pulling youngins. But the white women can't do that. They start looking like Kathy Bates from Misery at 33 years old. So they got to turn into hermits and stay in the house. They can't do that. So it's a whole different dynamic. But we got to understand something when it comes to white supremacy. Black male sexuality, particularly with white women, is viewed as a threat, not a private act. See, Shannon Sharpe's real punishment, it's not about the legalities or ethics or nothing like that. It's about the racial power dynamic. And you got these lawyers, and they've been getting called out. The lawyer that drug him in the court, and the same one dragging Jay-Z and all these other people. These white lawyers, they understand racial dynamics. This is why they target black people. Gloria Allred does the same thing. These people get up here and start targeting um, financially successful black people systematically because they understand the court, the jury, the law enforcement, and the media is going to side with the white people. They understand that. They understand that there's already a societal stigma based on white supremacy against the black people. So these unscrupulous lawyers, they use that to their advantage. That has to be called out more. Family, that's some shit that really has to be called out more. When we see black folks targeted by these dirtbag ass lawyers, we don't sit there cheering like, "Oh, that you get them. That's what they get." That no, no, that's dumb. That's some dumb off code bullshit. You don't do that. They wouldn't do it for you. You understand? So get off that shit. That's not cool at all. That's some of the most off code shit you can do. But listen, black male sexuality, that's always been criminalized under white supremacy. See, in the white supremacist imagination, black male sexuality, especially when it's expressed freely, it's inherently dangerous. Yeah. And Dr. Welsing taught us why. She taught us, she let us know that black white sexual pairings, especially with the black man and white woman, they look at that as genetic warfare. White supremacy is fundamentally about genetic survival and the fear of being genetically annihilated by non-white people. Now, from that lens, black men being with a white woman, that's interpreted as an act of dominance and erasure of whiteness. So the punishment of Shannon Sharpe, that's not rooted in justice. That's a defense reaction to a perceived racial threat. You got this big, buff, burly black man boning down this white woman who's begging for black babies. Don't forget what that white woman was saying. She was, "Oh, I want some big black babies." Yeah. So yeah, they had to get him. So the real crime that was breaking the racial sexual hierarchy, the racial caste system. See, well, white men, they're allowed to have access to women of all races. See, black men, you're punished for reaching up the racial ladder. You understand? So when you start stepping away from black women, now you're in a landmine. Just like with Diddy. Diddy's out here banging these little Filipino broads and all of that, and look, and they got him too. You see, you're reaching up that racial hierarchy to a certain degree. You're getting the women that the white men usually reserve for themselves. White men reserve the white women and particularly the Asian women for themselves. So you start peeling fruit off those trees, they're like, no, we got to swat your hand a little bit. You see, and we got to understand how white women's role in white supremacy it's often overlooked. See, white women they played a dual role in white supremacy. As symbols of purity and instruments of punishment from Emmett Till, the false allegations throughout Jim Crow and until recently. Their image has been weaponized to destroy black men. So that's a reality. And when a white woman is involved in a controversy with a powerful black man, see that triggers centuries old racial anxiety. That's what the thing with Bill Cosby, all them false allegations on Bill Cosby, because all them white women were choosing him. Talking about they were repeatedly raped. They just kept going back to get raped over and over again. You see? It's a cold world out here with that. But see, the power structure, it has to always reinforce that black men can be destroyed at any time. See, Shannon Sharpe was a success story, you know, and athletic, popular, charismatic. He'll come out of poverty, and the moment he gets linked to a white woman in a controversial context, the system reminded him and other black men that you can be replaced and disgraced overnight. And the punishment is a warning to other black men. Don't get too comfortable. Don't forget your place. And again, it's not about morality. It's just about power and control. It's not a moral reckoning. It's like ritualistic enforcement of racial order. No criminal charges because there was no crime. There was no misconduct. Just a white woman making a bogus accusation, talking about she just kept getting raped. You see, this is why when people call up here talking about I'm white, I don't have any power, dude. What white supremacy? I only have $30 in my pocket, dude. What? I don't have power. You have more money than me, dude. I keep telling people, you got $1 million worth of whiteness. Your whiteness overrides our money, no matter how much money we got. Shannon has a whole bunch of money. His whole career was just tanked by a OnlyFans hoe, a broke ass nickel and dime white OnlyFans broad. That's called white supremacy. Let me tell you, you don't get the reverse. Ain't no black woman who's an OnlyFans model gonna ever take down no white superstar at all. Let them, and even if he brutalize her ass, ain't nothing gonna happen. They ain't gonna let that happen. A black woman say, "Hey, well, I was with this white boy and he took advantage of me. He raped me." They're like, "Well, bitch, what did you do? What'd you do before? I mean, yeah, you wanted it. What were you over there for that time of night?" They're gonna second guess your ass. Now, looking into your background, we see that 15 years ago you shoplifted out of Sally's Beauty Supply, so you were a thug wench. You were a thuggish little wench, so we don't believe you. So yeah, they don't. No, they're gonna second guess your ass. They're gonna second guess you. They don't play that. They're not gonna just like the Duke Lacrosse. Remember when the Duke Lacrosse, that black woman said all them white dudes raped her? They were like, "Oh, no, no, no. What's your background? No, no, you ain't about to get all these white boys caught up." They flipped it on her ass. No, no, no. You don't get to make accusations, especially false accusations. Now, white women can make false accusations all day and they know that they're false. And they still protect them, just like Carolyn Bryant. Carolyn Bryant, the woman who lied on Emmett Till. They know she lied. They sat up there and let that woman live her old age out. They let her live till that funky, decrepit hoe was about 100 years old. They let her just wallow around and didn't do nothing to her. They protected that woman to the very end, knowing she lied. Yeah, that's what white supremacy is about, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get some of the family on here. Let's get Brother Twizzle on here. Then I'm gonna get Great Black Shark in the building. Brother Twizzle, what's up, fam?
What's up with the player, man? Shout out to you and shout out to the room, man.
My brother.
You know what I'm saying? What's happening? But yeah, hey, you remember that old school term, sex is a weapon?
Oh yeah,
It was a term that women used, they was referred to women who used to hold back sex towards their men.
yeah.
Now that's what the dominant society is using as a tool to go after black powerful men. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
'Cause if you notice, look at all the most powerful men. What brought them down? Sexual accusations or physical accusations or assault accusations. You know what I'm saying? So that's a new tool and another form of how should I say, assault that the dominant society is using to go after powerful black men because they know they're not the average black man, that they can just put a little minor drug case or or domestic violence or drink and driving case. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And with old Shannon Sharpe, hey, to say it though, T, he brought it on himself. And why I say he brought it on himself, because he's old enough to know he's our age and he been through the Kobe Bryant, he been through the Michael Irvin, he been through all that. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about him, he got so power struck and he started smelling his own self to where he felt like he couldn't be touched no more. You know, he felt like he was above everything and he felt like that he can play in a field that he don't belong in. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about a lot of those country athletes. No disrespect to my brothers from the country or anything, but that's how it is for some of them brothers from small towns. Just as soon as they get their taste of success and they get that access to be around them white women, they don't know how to act. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was going for, and that's what he went for. And look what happened. You know, we were old enough to, we were taught, don't deal with them because you will lose a lot dealing with them. I know I was taught that. And if he hasn't learned by him being in that sporting atmosphere, in that industry, that dealing with them, you could lose everything. Well, I mean, no disrespect to you, but I feel like he brought that on himself. You know what I'm saying? And other than that, I just want to land my plane. Shout out to the room, and hey, shout out to the great black shark. And hey, I land my plane, y'all.
Man, respect to that. Respect to that. Valid criticism. Great Black Shark. What's up, brother?
Salute to you, black man. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. What's up, fam?
I'm good, man. I hope your family is well. I'll try to be brief, brother, but it's very unfortunate what happened to the brother Shannon Sharpe and so many others. But this is the lesson that I want all of us as black people to learn, especially young, successful black people, and even a common everyday black person. I definitely agree wholeheartedly with what you said. White supremacy is a demonic, cowardly system. We are the number one targets of it. But as Neely Fuller Jr. said, if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. So I
Mm-hmm.
often think that a lot of the most successful black people, men and women alike, if they get to a certain tier and they're isolated from their family, from their people, we know a lot of them, once they become successful in the sports industry, they're surrounded by white agents. They don't think about race the same way oftentimes, even if they come from a grounded background. So what I would like to see young black people, especially these young successful black men or older ones, get together and understand and say, okay, look, we know the history of this country, like you mentioned with Emmett Till. And then in present times, we see what's going on with the caste thing, these settlements. So the way I always look at it, you combine past history with recent history and say, okay, what can I learn from this as a black man? We never let the system off the hook, but I've always told myself this because I've done very well for myself over my lifetime. I would rather them come at me with something completely fabricated than put my head under the guillotine and give them an easy alley oop to steal my generational wealth. And I want this. I want all black people, especially these successful black men, to start looking at themselves as an empire. And if you're an empire, you try to protect your empire. You try to protect what you build in spite of this demonic system. Because let's be real, brother Tariq, anytime we succeed at anything, it's not because they said, okay, you're the most talented. We respect that. We succeed in spite of. So,
Right.
they got to understand, brother, now in recent history, it's going to be a lot of these broke ass OnlyFans hoes and plotting thoughts. So they have to start thinking that, okay, this white woman that's so enamored with you, hey, how do you know that some of these people that never wanted you to be there, how you know the Gloria Alvarez, they didn't get together and pick a bitch and send her to you to destroy you?
Right.
This is the way I look at that. It's strategic. So some of these brothers, man, I hate to say it because it kills me to see them get themselves in certain situations or be targeted that way because it's a combination of both. It kills me to know that more of this is going to happen because some of the brothers think that, okay, yeah, he just did something wrong. It'll never be me. So, I hope they're listening to spaces like these because knowledge is a protection when you apply it so it becomes wisdom. That's it. I'll land.
My brother, man, very good analysis. Very good analysis. So yeah, from that perspective, Shannon should have kind of known or had an idea of what could have went down. So when I say when I say it's like a cop out to say, well, he should have known better. No, no, not, it's not a total cop out. It's not, because that's valid. That is very, very valid. That's a very, very valid thing, because brothers should know what's up. And cats get out here and dumb out. My thing is, I don't want us to say that and then not look at white supremacy too. We got to get on them too for the racial, because I hate racial double standards. I hate any type of racial double standard. Every racial double standard has to be called out. So when they attack him, we have to get on their cases about practicing white supremacy and practicing racial double standards, because they don't hold people in the dominant society under the same standard. Now, under the system of white supremacy, it would behoove us to know the rules of racism and know how to move and shake and navigate around it. So yeah, that is a very valid critique. We absolutely need to know what system we are in, because again, these country cats, and Shannon is country as hell, and you get these white women all up in your ear talking all that freaky shit, and you don't know it's a con game. He's talking all that shit when she was talking about big black babies and all that. And I'm like, okay, dude, that was a red flag right there. But Shannon probably didn't even catch it. He probably got turned on. Ooh, big black baby. Ooh, shit. Skip. She said big black baby. Ooh, I'll buy show no get you big black baby. Ooh, I'm on some of that cootie cat. Yeah, yeah. Oh, skip. Yeah, I'm gonna get you. I show enough gonna get you some big black babies now. You just call me, let me know when you need it. I gives it to you. Skip. She wants some big black babies here. That's what I was gonna give her. I'm sure gonna tear that little pink cootie cat right on up here. I'm gonna tear it up something fierce. Ooh, my little old snow bunny. Ooh, I'm snowed in for the whole winter. There's a whole bunch of snow bunnies. Skip, you know. So he was probably bucking his eyes over there, you know. So yeah, don't let them fool you with all that freaky talk. Don't let them do that. All right, let me see who we got. We got a lot of folks in the building. Raise their hands. Raise them hands. And I ain't gonna be on too long. I always say that. What's up, Hi Bye? Let's get Hi Bye in here. Hi Bye in the building, Brother McCall, cousin Jerry down there. I see you. Hi Bye, what's going on? Unmute that mic. And while we're waiting on you to unmute that mic, let's get BT. Let's get BT in the building. That Hi Bye?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here.
what's up, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I mean, when you look at all these situations with a lot of black males, including from Puffy, you know, all these guys, I don't think it really got anything to do with where they from. It's just like they all should be privy to what's going on in society, and they should have been knowing that for a long time. So I think a lot of them got to take some of the responsibility in it. From Shannon Sharpe, Puffy, to even what's going on with Gilbert Arenas. I think these guys need to, you know, take what they've seen in the past and utilize that as to understanding what they need to do in the future, because it's just like you can't sit up here and just be like, oh, they from the country, that's why they doing it, when you see guys from New York City getting bounced the same way.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Puffy ain't from the country, and got hemmed up. He just got hemmed up by some more exotic women. So very good point. Very good point. And I'm speaking of Gilbert Arenas. Uh, man, he got arrested. He got out though. He got arrested because they were running some type of Israeli gambling spot. They were running like some underground illegal poker game, and it was a whole bunch of people involved. And he got in. They arrested him. He got out though. I saw a video of him getting out. He was like, "Yeah, and I just rented the house. Whoop de whoop." So listen, um, you cats got to be careful out here now. And I know about them. I know about them poker games because somebody invited me to one of them joints, one of them little underground poker games, and I knew something was real janky about it, just the way they were describing it. So I know about them joints. That's why I knew some funny style was about that shit. I knew something was funny. I knew something was funny about it. Somebody invited me to one of them joints about a year ago in the same area where the shit was going down. I don't know about that. Yeah. Yeah, certain circles I don't, I don't with unless it's some street cats that I know, but that type of shit, there's some Israelis, hell no. Nah, because yeah, they'll sit up there and flip it and let Gilbert Arenas let him be the fall guy. So you got to be careful out here. You really got to be careful out here. And I hope he's all right. And he should know better getting involved in that type of shit.
When there is stank on the streets, there's only one man who will bring the heat.
Hey, Rootwork Jones, why you gotta split, sugar?
These musty jive turkeys think it's a game out here. I gotta get out here and show them I mean business. Can you dig it?
None of these smelly suckers can relax, because Rootwork Jones is back. Is the return of Dolomite, the Sultan of Stank. His mission? To turn Harlem into a musty mecca.
I'm going to plant a must bomb in Harlem. When it detonates, everyone in Harlem will be musty.
Rootwork Jones has to shake up the block. He has a limited time before the bomb drops.
Word on the street is Dolomite's men planted a bomb in a Cadillac in Harlem.
Thanks, mama.
Can Rootwork Jones find the bomb before it explodes?
Where is the Cadillac with the must bomb, sucker?
Or will the city go into musty mode?
There's a couple blocks over that way.
Rootwork Jones is behind the wheel, socking stanky suckers all in their grills. Come see Rootwork Jones in Musty Inferno. Go to rootworkstyle.com for more info. Sucker.